The weight of the kill is a good pain. Kale shifts the massive haunch of the Megaloceros on his shoulders, the sinuous of his back screaming a protest that is also a victory. Behind him, Bio and Lyra trudge in his footsteps, their own spears stained dark, their faces smeared with the grime of a 3-day hunt across the frozen steppe. The wind, a constant knife in this age of ice, cuts at their hide wrappings, but the thought of the cave, the fire in the faces of their kin, is a warmth they carry inside. This kill means the clan will eat for a moon. It means the children will have marrow to suck from the bone, and Elara, the old mother, will have fat to render for the lamps. It is the purpose of their existence as Homo sapiens, this constant struggle to turn the world's savage life into their own. As they crest the final ridge, the familiar silhouette of their home, a gaping mouth and a limestone cliff, comes into view. But something is wrong. A cold that has nothing to do with the wind seeps into Kale's bones. He quickens his pace, the heavy leg of the giant deer forgotten. The entrance to the cave is a void of silence. There is no sound of children playing, no rhythmic chip-chip-chip of Bioa's father working a flint call, no murmur of stories from the elders. The great fire pit just outside the entrance is a circle of blackened, rain-soaked stones. The storm that passed yesterday must have been ferocious. Kale drops the haunch and enters the gloom, his hand instinctively going to the stone axe at his hip. Bio and Lyra follow, their spears held ready, their eyes wide in the half-light. The familiar smell of wood smoke and roasting meat is gone, replaced by the damp, sterile scent of cold rock and the faint, sharp tang of ozone, the ghost of a lightning strike. Inside, the emptiness is absolute. The sleeping hollows lined with furs and dried moss are undisturbed. I half-finished spear lies beside a pile of flint flakes. A scraper tool rests on a ox hide stretched taut on a frame, abandoned mid-task. It is a place not of violence, but of sudden, complete cessation. It is as if 30 people simply ceased to be. Kale moves deeper, his heart a stone in his chest. His torch, the branch hastily lit from their travel embers, throws flickering shadows that dance like spirits on the walls. He runs a hand over a familiar petroglyph, the red ochre handprint of his son, tall, small and perfect beside his own. It is cold. He calls their names, Mia, Tor, Elar. His voice, raw and desperate, is swallowed by the stone. The only answer is the drip of water from the back of the cavern. Bio finds it first at the muddy threshold of the cave. He grunts, a sound of disbelief and fear. Kale and Lyra join him, their torches held low. In the soft earth pressed deep is a single footprint. It is massive, larger than a cave bear's, but it is no claws. It is smooth, heavy impression, an impossible shape belonging to no beast they have ever hunted or fled from in their collective memory of this prehistoric world. It is the footprint of a monster that doesn't exist. Lyra begins to keen a high, thin sound that cuts through the dead air of the cave. It is the sound of absolute loss, a mourning for ghosts. Kale places a hand on her shoulder, his touch hard and grounding. His own grief is a cold, dense stone in his gut, but it is not the time for it. Fear is the greater enemy now. Bioa spits on the ground. He growls that no beast made this, that this is spirit work. The storm, he insists, was not natural, and its anger can still be smelled in the air. The sharp, metallic scent of ozone, the lingering ghost of the lightning, clings to everything. It connects the storm, the disappearance, and this impossible mark into a single, terrifying narrative. A spirit of thunder, born of the storm, came and took them. It is the only explanation that their understanding of the world allows. This is a new chapter in hominid history, one where the monsters are not of flesh and bone. Guilt is a fire that consumes them. They were hunting. They were hunting. They were providing. But while they were gone, the clan was extinguished. Kale says, his voice flat, that they will follow it. It is not a question. To remain in this hollowed-out shell of a home, surrounded by the echoes of their lost kin, is a kind of death. To abandon the chase is to accept that their families are gone forever. The hunt is all they have left. Boa nods slowly, his knuckles white around his spear shaft, her face hardening into a mask of grim resolve. Their purpose has shifted. They are no longer hunters of megafauna. They are hunters of a god or a demon. They are three ancient humans against the unknown. They pack little, a few strips of dried meat from their own stores, their best flint points, and the embers of their fire, carefully cradled in a clay pot. They abandon the massive deer haunch where it lies, a useless offering to a home that is no longer a home. Kale takes one last look at his son's handprint on the wall, then turns his back on the cave forever. The trail is cold, marked only by their fear-sharpened senses. They are the best trackers in their clan. Their survival skills honed by a lifetime of reading the subtle language of the land. But now, they read a new language, one of superstition. A field of flattened grass is not the bedding down site of a woolly rhino. It is the place where the spirit rested. A series of deep, parallel scratches on a cliff face is not the result of a landslide during the long process of glaciation. It is the mark of the spirit's claws, their intelligence, their greatest tool for survival in a world of prehistoric life. Is now a lens that warps reality, confirming their terror at every turn. They move through a landscape of giants. Herds of mammoths drift like moving hills in the distance. A pair of cave lions watches them from a rocky outcrop. But these real dangers feel mundane, almost comforting, compared to the formless dread of what they pursue. At night, they huddle together, the fire a tiny spark of defiance against a vast, hungry darkness, and they see the face of the thunder spirit in the dancing flames. For days they follow the ghost, their world shrinking to the next cracked rock, the next bent sapling. The landscape, once familiar territory for early humans, grows strange, a place of twisted limestone and deep fissures that hiss with unseen water. The trail they invent leads them here, into the jobber of the earth. This is a place the clan always avoided, a place the old mother said was where the ground was rotten. Kel now understands her words not as superstition, but as observation. The air grows heavy, charged with an energy that makes the hairs on their arms stand up. The sky, a brilliant, cold blue just this morning, is now bruised with purple and grey clouds that boil on the horizon. They find shelter beneath a massive stone overhang, a shallow cave that offers little comfort. The storm breaks not with a warning of rain, but with a sudden, violent crack of thunder that feels as if it has split the sky directly above them. Rain comes down in a solid, blinding sheet, and then it comes. A flash of white-hot light that erases the world, followed instantaneously by a sound so profound it is felt in their bones and their teeth. A colossal tree not 50 paces from their shelter explodes into splinters. The ground heaves, a violent, rolling motion that throws them against the rock wall. It is not the tremor of a beast's footstep. It is the shudder of the world itself. Peering out into the maelstrom, Kale sees it. A section of the ridge opposite them, a place of rock and stunted pines, simply drops away. It does not crumble or slide. It vanishes into a newly opened black mouth in the earth, swallowed whole in a landslide of mud and stone. The roaring of the collapsing earth briefly drowns out the storm, a cataclysm in miniature. And in that moment of terrible, awe-inspiring destruction, the mystery dies, replaced by a certainty far more horrific than any monster. Kale's mind races back to the cave. The lingering smell of ozone, the rain-soaked ground, the single, deep, smooth impression. It was not a footprint. He sees it now with agonizing clarity. It was the scour of the sky, the focal point where the lightning had struck, unleashing its power not surface, but into the water, weakened rock below. The ground beneath their home had given way, swallowing the cave, the fire, the people. It swallowed his mate, Nia. It swallowed their entire world. The thunder was not the voice of a spirit. It was the sound of their family being buried alive. This is the truth that underpins all of ancient history. The greatest threats are not the ones with teeth and claws, but the indifferent forces of an ancient earth that does not know or care that you exist. The primal fear they felt was real, but they had given it the wrong name. They do not speak. There are no words for this kind of grief. They are the last of their line, three living ghosts haunted by a truth etched into the landscape by fire and stone. A million years from now, perhaps other humans will find the bones, a chaotic jumble deep in the rock, and the new sciences of paleontology and archaeology will label it a site of great mystery, a snapshot of life million years ago. But for Kale, Bor, and Lyra, it is a grave. They turn their backs on the hissing fissure and begin to walk, with no destination and no purpose beyond the next breath. Their quest is over. Their survival has just begun. This is the brutal calculus of human evolution. The universe does not reward courage or punish wickedness. It is a storm of magnificent, deadly indifference. The origin of our species' improbable ascent is found not in triumphant hunts, but in moments like this. It is found in the quiet, stubborn decision of the last survivors to keep walking, to carry the fire and the memories of the dead into the next sunrise, refusing to let their story end as a fossil record in a collapsed cave. They carry the entire weight of their vanished people in the silence between them. These are the echoes in the stone. Listen closely. They are the whispers of your own blood. But the earth is not the only thing that swallows the unwary.